Hello friends, you must have came across a scenario where you have to sum up all the elements of an array. So for example, in this array the total sum would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, that is 10, right? So you might have used for loop or for off loop to solve it. There is also one another method which we can use, and that is called as reduce function. So let's see how we can implement this reduce method. So we will have a variable here called as sum, and then we will do array.reduce. We will have a callback function here, so let's write it. This is going to take two values. The first one is going to be accumulator and another one is going to be current value, right? So what this callback function does is it iterates over each one of these values, and the current value represent each of these value only, right, when it iterates. And this accumulator is the value where we can hold up our sum, right? So let's see how it works. What we will do here is we will return accumulator plus current value, right? And here we will put the value as 0. So this is the initial value which we are setting up in the accumulator. So let's see what we get inside of this sum variable. So yeah, you see we are getting 10 here. That is what we were expecting, right? So in this way, how it is happening is, so initially the accumulator is 0. And when the iteration starts, the current value gets to be 1. So let's just write it here. Current value gets to be 1, and then the accumulator is 0 plus 1, so that would be 1, right? For the second time, current value is 2 and the accumulator is 1 plus 2, that is 3. And then the current value will be 3 and the accumulator would be 3 plus 3, 6. For the next time it would be 4 and the accumulator would be total 10, and this would be our final result. So that's how it is working here. But in this case we can also remove this initial value. So let's say what happens when we remove this. So I removed it and you see it is still 10. So what is happening here? So in this case this statement is not running, right? What it is doing is it is starting from this first array only, but it is taking the accumulator as already 1, right? So when it goes to a second iteration, the current value is 2 and the accumulator is 3 and so on, right? So that's how we can use reduce function. This is a very simple case of array of numbers. Let's say we have a complex array of objects. Let's say it is something like this, right? It is a array of fruits and the count of those. And what we want to have is the total number of fruits which we are having, right? So that would be 2 plus 3 plus 4 and it would be 9, right? So let's see how we can go with this, right? So let's just have count, and this will be equals to new array dot reduce. So here we will have the same callback function again, the accumulator and the current value, and here we will return accumulator plus, you see current value now is this whole object, right? So what we have to return is current value dot count, right? Yeah, so let's say if we run it, and let me just console log it also. Yeah, see, so the output which we are getting is object and then 34, right? So you might be confused that why are we getting this result, right? So let's see how it is working. Initially our accumulator was this first object, right? So let's call it object here. In the second round our current value dot count would be 3, right, as you can see here. So current value count is 3, right, and our accumulator would be this object plus 3, right? So you see these both are of not the same type, so what will happen is these both will be converted to the string type and it would give something like this, uh, object and then 3, right? Then we will go to the next iteration, and here it is, the count is 4. So here the current value count is 4, and the accumulator would be let's say obj 3, and then it would be 4, because we are adding this 4 into a string, right? So it would be this. So that is what we are getting here, right? But what should we do in this case, right? So here we have to put the initial value as 0, right? So now what would happen is the accumulator would be 0 instead, and for the first iteration it would be the current value count will be 2, and the accumulator would be this 0 plus 2, that would be 2, and then for this current value count 3, it would be 2 plus 3, so that would be 5. For this it would be 4 plus this 5, and it would be 9 here, right? So that's how it works. Hope you understand it and hope you like this video. Thank you.